now than this man, Gary Beck. Low elapsed time of the round, 5:60.
6-0. Great, Steve. It looks like we're getting a little bit of it back each time. That's great. The guys are working real hard. Bernie and Bill Walter, they're just hitting it. So maybe we can sneak a win in this year after all.
Well, a quick time sometimes is tempered by an oily motor. This one is totally dry, sealed up. Couldn't look better.
The motor looks real good. We've had trouble with it all year, but it looks real good to us right now.
Guess what? You get a shot at Joe Amato next round.
Yeah, we need that.
A real competitor, Gary Beck, and he faces a major challenge at Amato in the next race. As he gets ready to go, let's go back to the starting line where we've got a couple of seasoned pros getting ready to go. That is Big Daddy Don Garlits backing in. His adversary, Bill Mullins from Pelham, Alabama, a man who's been around this sport a long time, hasn't really had the great success that I would think his driving talents would permit, Steve.
Well, he won an awful lot of titles with a little small block Chevrolet blown alcohol car, but of course these big fuel burners are a whole other ball game. Don Garlits, it's all been said. And you know, Brock, this is a rematch of the Cajun Nationals finals. In fact, let's go back and look at this great duel between these two. The two lapped right together, and they stayed that way all the way down the quarter of a mile. But a timing failure at the finish line, there was no wind light. Herb Parks, Garlits crew, no one knew who won the race. Big Daddy knew. Bill Mullins knew that he was on fire for the second time that weekend. So, as we saw just now, Big Daddy won it by a half a car length. Hopes to do at least that well again.
Well, he's on a roll right now, Steve, coming in here after winning 2 major NHRA events in a row and putting himself right in the thick of the points chase to displace Joe Amato as the world champion.
And the first race this year he won was the Southern Nationals in Atlanta when he stunned everybody with a 265-mile-an-hour blast, the fastest speed we have ever seen. Watch the reflexes on 2 men over 50 years of age. Garlits with an amazing start. Garlits away first, but the upset of the Spring Nationals, Bill Mullins gets revenge over that final round loss in Baton Rouge. It is Mullins at 569, 252 miles an hour. Garlits' old steed just kind of laid down on him, Brock.
It sure did. A 595. He was just really blown out. If it hadn't been for just an outstanding start, Big Daddy wouldn't have been in it at all. He did squeeze the light beautifully and came out ahead of Mullins, but it was Bill Mullins this time with just superior horsepower. Something must have gone away on Big Daddy's car because a 595 is very uncharacteristic for him.
Off comes the sock for Bill Mullins. He says, it looks like we hurt it, but you indeed hurt Big Daddy worse than you did this engine. You kind of owed him one, though.
Yeah, we did. We never get caught up with him. He's always tough. We're lucky to win it.
In what way?
Well, anytime you're running him, I figure, you are at a disadvantage.
No, you've had a problem going the distance mechanically, though.
Right. We just have the brakes at the wrong time. We can never have a lucky break. We're running good enough to win it, but we have throttle cables break and stuff like that at the wrong time.
See you in the semis.
Thank you. Hope so.
Okay, let's go to Brock Yates with Big Daddy Don Garlits.
Don, you came in here with high hopes, but you never quite seemed to get the combination here.
No, the car's never made a good run here this entire race.
What in particular was a problem on this one?
I have no idea. If I knew, I'd have fixed it.
You just lost it. No power?
Zero. He just drove away from me.
We're sorry, and we know you'll be back.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you can count on that. How about the semifinals? Bill Mullins versus Dick LaHaye. LaHaye will have the lane choice. Now, in the other half of the semis, Joe Amato versus Gary Beck. It'll be a good one. Right now, let's go to Ed Bruce.
Last year's Top Fuel final was an interesting race. It matched the driver who at that time was the fastest man in the history of the sport against the man who at that time was the quickest. Let's take one more look back at that exciting race. It was Joe Amato in the near lane. A few weeks earlier in the season, Amato had become the first driver in NHRA history to go over 260 miles per hour. And in the far lane, Gary Beck with the quickest recorded elapsed time in the NHRA. It was speed against quickness. Both cars were pre-staged. Beck rolled into the starting beams, then Amato, and they left together. But quickly, Gary Beck was out in front. Then he motored into a commanding victory with an elapsed time of 5.54 at a blistering 257 miles per hour. Fellas?
And don't you know, Gary Beck's crew hopes they'll again be applauding on the starting line when the action is over today here at the Spring Nationals in Columbus, Ohio. We'll be back with the tires-smoking, ground-pounding funny cars. Second round competition coming at you.
Budweiser Spring National. Kenny the King Bernstein against Dale Pulte, who's in here with a beautiful new Buick Somerset Regal bodied car. And I'll tell you what, Steve Evans, not only does it look good, It runs like a rocket.
But I don't know if it can match the aerodynamic shape of Kenny Bernstein's Ford Tempo. Ask the automotive journalists in the press room. They'll tell you these are the top 2 funny cars in the world today, with Kenny Bernstein rated as number 1.
Well, they've spent an awful lot of time in the Ford wind tunnel to get that tempo-bodied funny car just right. And, of course, we've got that mysterious computer on board that automobile. But Dale Foley, that automobile, too, has some great potential. It's almost brand new, and it's just on the verge of development by Hamby and Foley and that terrific crew that he brings with him from California.
Well, it certainly is the looker of the bunch, isn't it? Just gorgeous. And Dale Foley is fine a driver as you could fold into the seat of one of these landlocked guided missiles. Kenny Bernstein with the roof hatch up over in the far lane. That's to let a little the burnout smoke out and some cool air in. These cars are completely sealed up now. You can see those are solid windows, and they don't roll down. Kenny Bernstein drag raced as a kid into his early 20s, went into business, became very successful, came back into the sport of drag racing 6 years ago, and struggled, to be quite honest with you, but just wouldn't give up. He is one of the hardest working men in business and in sports that I have ever met. From Dallas, Texas, and Newport Beach, California, that's Kenny Bernstein. A Valley boy from Granada Hills, California, in the San Fernando Valley, that's Dale Foley.
And a terrific couple of guys, great guys off the racetrack, very dedicated to this sport and represent it so well off the racetrack as well as on. As we see a crewman for Foley working on that left rear wheel. What is he doing down there, Steve?
Well, that's Randy Green, and he has a counterpart on the other side of the car. They've got rags in their hands, and they're just making sure those tires are as clean as possible. Foley's is the only crew that really goes through this ritual. You'll see the Top Fuel Racer guys maybe take a swipe at the tire once in a while, but this is just part of their starting line technique.
Well, it's worked pretty well for him up to now, but let's see how it works against the man who is really, really just so strong in funny car competition right now, Kenny Bernstein.
Bernstein has them all scared to death with his consistency. His run's never more than a few hundredths apart. Foley in the near lane makes the final move into the staging big. It is Foley away first. Dale Foley with a big advantage and falling back. Foley had a whole shot but could not capitalize on it. Kenny Bernstein, 574, 249 miles an hour, incredibly consistent.
And right in there, as we said before, with the top fuel times here at the Spring Nationals. This kid could go on in a long way in top fuel competition. Dale Foley, a valiant try, but not enough against the Bernstein onslaught. All right, the next pairing. This is Ed McCullough in one of the Larry Minor cars. That, of course, is the team that brought Gary Beck and Larry Minor to this race in the top fuel ranks. Ed McCullough, an experienced funny car pilot at the wheel of their Oldsmobile. In the other lane, the four-time funny car world champion, Don Prudhomme. One of the greatest names in this sport. But now let's go to Steve Evans at the other end of the track.
Well, there was a moment there right at the start when Kenny Bernstein may have thought he was in trouble.
It was a little late again, I think. Dale was awful good on the lights. And I don't know. It's just one of those days, but Armstrong and the crew's done their job, and it ran good and made it up. So, you know, it takes a whole team deal.
574.
Well, that's consistent. That's what we're looking for. A couple of more of those, and we'll take a shot at it.
You know, the last race or at Baton Rouge, when you were running so consistently, and then you had a little problem going into the final. Do you now have the spare parts to be able to fix that sort of thing? Should it happen again?
Well, we certainly have the spare parts. We had them then. It's just something that happened up on the starting line. There's not much you can do. We don't have a pit stop to fix her up.
Indeed, they don't. In this sport, you get one shot at it.
And that was all that Bernstein needed. Look at this mob of people. They've been pouring in her all day long, and when the professional cars, the funny cars and top fuel cars come to the line, those stands packed up from one end to the other.
And nobody more capable of giving them all a thrill than Ed McCullough. Originally from the Northwest, now living in Hemet, California. Don the Snake Prudhomme, Granada Hills, California. The first to run 240, the first to run 250, the first to break the 5-second barrier. The man has done it all in this sport, Brock.
And a great character as well. Just one of the most affable professionals that you'll ever find. Truly a great driver as he gets ready to go against McCullough. And McCullough, very seasoned, very cool on the starting line, Steve.
And the Snake, just a gifted athlete, Brock. I think he could have been a success in a lot of different sports. I mean, I've seen him roller skate and race motorcycles, and he just is so coordinated, especially right off of this starting line. So the Ace and Prudhomme, they've raced each other many times, and this looks like another good one. They are side by side. Prudhomme starting to pull away. It is Don the Snake Prudhomme, one of his best elapsed times in a while, a 5:79, 251 miles an hour. That puts away the Ace. And the good news for Don the Snake Prudhomme, no smoke out of that motor, a nice clean 5:79. Off the line, it was absolutely equal, Brock.
Sure was, Steve. We see McClelland in the red Oldsmobile nearest the camera. Don the Snake Prudhomme in that beautiful Pontiac Trans Am, blue and white, coming out together. But it was the awesome power of Prudhomme's Keith Black engine that spelled the difference with a big, strong top-end run.
Well, Don Prudhomme continues to get ever closer to the performance of Kenny Bernstein, a 5:79.
I know I had to step up a little bit against the Ace. You know, he's plenty tough, and this thing's starting to come around. Who knows?
Maybe there's a little more room to go.
Well, we think so. You know, it's kind of stumbling leaving the start line, so we'll see. Maybe we can pick the pace up a little bit more.
Lane choice, you think an advantage, Don?
I like the right, you know, and I think it is right now, yes.
Okay, Don Prudhomme, he's got his confidence back for sure.
And that's great news for us, Steve. We'll be back with more funny car competition from the Spring Nationals following this. Just outside Columbus, Ohio. We're here for the Budweiser Spring Nationals. I'm Brock Yates along with Steve Evans and Ed Bruce. And Steve, we've got ourselves some more second-round funny car action in an interesting matchup. Tom the Mongoose McEwen against this young man, John Collins. Give me a book on these two guys.
Well, first of all, Brock, they're very good friends, and at one time were teammates. When McEwen was running two cars, he hired John Collins to run that second or B-team car. That's McEwen over in the far lane, the beautiful Corvette-bodied car. This is John Collins from Claremore, Oklahoma, and Long Beach, California, depending on the season. Tom the Mongoose McEwen from Fountain Valley, California, and he's been drag racing almost as long as Big Daddy Don Garland. Of course, he started at a younger age, and everybody with those roof hatches up, that seems to be standard operational procedure anymore to try to get some of the smoke out of the inside of those cars that seeps through the bodywork from the burnout. It's incredible how detailed these bodies are. Those tail lights look real, don't they? No, they're not. They're just painted on by an artist. All of these cars now carrying two parachutes. That is mandatory for this season, partially due to the shortness of this racetrack and an awful lot of racetracks. Well, they're not becoming shorter. The cars are just going a heck of a lot faster than they did a few years ago, and two parachutes just can't be a bad idea. Wheelie bars in place there as well, hopefully to keep the car, if it wants to wheel stand, from just carrying the front wheels no more than a few inches off the ground. These funny cars weigh in these days at about 1,800 pounds. We say they're 3,000 horsepower. No one's really sure because there's not a dynamometer in the world that could measure it. One thing we do know, that thanks to the superchargers, or the blowers as the racers call them, they make a whole lot more power than they would with just carburetors. Earlier, Brock Yates had a chance to look at the modern-day supercharger these racers use.
Every time we come to a drag race, you'll hear us talking about one of these, a blower, actually called a supercharger. This is a pretty simple device, but it is the source of the big horsepower and the top fuel and funny cars that you'll see here at the Spring Nationals. These two rotors in here really act simply as pumps. They take a fuel charge, air and nitromethane, and pressurize it as it goes into the engine cylinders. Hence, you get about 3,000 horsepower out of an engine that without a supercharger would only produce around 500 horsepower. Custom magnesium casing, but actually the 671 supercharger on old GMC over-the-road diesel trucks is the source of this particular device. High technology from the drag racers have made it a very, very expensive and very exotic piece of machinery. But its function is simple. A pump pressurizes the fuel charge and turns a 500 horsepower engine into a 3,000 horsepower monster.
And that horsepower doesn't come cheap. Those superchargers worth over $2,000. And this year alone, about 50 of them has been turned to dust by these racers. Here is John Collins in the near lane. Tom the Mongoose McEwen in the far lane. Second round funny car action. The engines are up for the temperature, and they are away. It is off the mark first, John Collins. John Collins away first. It is Collins. A race you can barely call with a naked eye. A 598. And it's a good thing he had a hole shot, because McEwen ran a quicker 591. Collins blew the roof hatch right out of the body, Brock.
You don't think there's a lot of air turbulence at 250 miles an hour. Steve, that was just raw air that just sucked that roof lid right off of Collins' car as he kind of stands up and navigates that funny car off the racetrack. I'm sure he knew it went, and I'll tell you what, it's probably lucky it didn't cause some control loss, because these cars are very slippery, very aerodynamically sensitive vehicles when you get over 200 miles an hour in particular. But right now, Collins was only worried about that nose-length victory over Tom McEwen, which, by the way, came with McEwen getting the lower AT, but it was a better start by Collins, a hole shot that brought him that very, very close victory. What a great drag race.
Well, John Collins apparently turned on the air conditioning going through the light as the escape hatch blew right out of the top of the car. Collins, as long as it was open, decided to crawl out that way. John, good driving. Another hole shot put you in the semis.
We've been lucky today, haven't we, Steve?
Good driving, too.